Hey guys, Nintendo Boy 17 here, aka NintyFan1991, and look what I finally got. 1 year late, but that's how I am usually. But yep, the Switch 2 is finally here in my house, and yeah, let's unbox it a little bit, and I think it's about time I gave my impressions. 1 year of its release. Okay, so after unboxing and hooking up the platform, the first game I tried out on it was a Switch 1 game, and already one of the most ported games in the world. No, not that. Yet. It was Doom plus Doom 2. And already trying out the console in handheld mode, the fidelity looked improved over Switch 1. Looked even cleaner, and even the sound is so much better. But if you're playing a new console, you'll want to try out the new games. For me, that first game was none other than Cyberpunk 2077, which I played before on the Xbox One X and Series X. And when I was trying out the game on Switch 2, I was pleasantly surprised about how many control options I could test on this. Yeah, in handheld mode, which feels great, even better than the Switch 1 even with the screen and the Joy-Con's bigger size. Motion controls take a bit to get used to, but in Cyberpunk's case, they had this useful thing where we can recenter with the second analog stick when things get too weird on your hands. While we're on the subject, perhaps a bigger test on the Joy-Con 2's motion controls, Mario Galaxy. More precisely, Mario Galaxy 2, as I recently purchased the double pack just before my Switch 2. I said in my review in Galaxy 1 that while I think using the gyroscope controls on the Pro Controller was awkward, I refused to even use the Joy-Con 1 due to its size. But the Joy-Con 2? Scott the Woz was right. Joy-Con 2 is much superior in terms of comfort that it almost feels like you're playing it on the Wii. And keep in mind, this is still technically a Switch 1 title. But one thing that really interested me about the Switch 2 was the ability to have mouse controls out of your Joy-Con 2. So of course, I first tried that with, of course, Cyberpunk 2077. I was in open combat and it took me time to get used to as I was worried the size wouldn't be as comfortable as, well, an actual mouse for my bigger hands. However, with it being wireless and as thin as it is, it allows me to make some flexible turns to access the face buttons I needed. The list to use this control scheme is limited, but according to a list I found, that Red Dead Redemption also allows for mouse controls, but only if I have the upgrade, which Rockstar released for free, so as long as I bought the game, which I have physically, I get it. And here, it took me a bit of customization to get to my liking, but when I got the hang of it, I got used to the horseback riding and the gun shootouts, but I'd probably still prefer traditional controls in this case, the grips for the Joy-Cons, which are a bit less of a cramp on your hands in contrast to the Switch 1 due to the length of the Joy-Cons. Still, mouse gameplay makes me wish several games on the Switch 1, from strategy games like Pikmin and Advance Wars, to especially first-person shooters, especially of the retro variety like Doom, Dark Forces, and Jedi Academy, had the compatibility. While I'm at it, let's talk upgrade for the Switch 1 games. Some, like Red Dead Redemption, are free, so long as you bought the game. It better. Others, varying on the game and or the publisher, require a fee. Skyrim, you could argue, is that if you bought the anniversary add-on for the Switch 1 version, well, it's that, but I already bought it a couple years back and Bethesda made the announcement that it would be free. Except in Skyrim, it was a nightmare. One would think with the virtual game card installed, we're good to go. But no, you've got to not install the virtual game card, load the game in the main menu, go to the eShop from there, and boom. More confusing, it's more a digital backup on a separate app. So I guess it's nice to change in between games. I'm playing on a physical and I want to dig out some Skyrim, but sheesh, Bethesda, Rockstar still needed the Switch 1 cartridge for Red Dead Redemption. That is just confusing. But to end, I'm already impressed with what the Switch 2 has to offer so far. Better hardware that would make Switch 1 games perform better even without the upgrades for the following platform. More comfortable than the last system even. Expect some games for this thing in due time, even if it's just backwards compatible games. Now, with the new Mario movie coming out, time I go all in with a replay of Galaxy 2.